I think we're all familiar with the boy who cried wolf. As a child, we were taught a lesson, a valuable lesson. The reason that the story has passed so many generations is because what the author is trying to project as a lesson for life is true. The simplistic version of the story goes, there was a boy in a small town. He was told by an individual to look out for a wolf. If he was to see a wolf, he was supposed to scream, "Wolf!" That way all of the townspeople could prepare for the wolf's arrival. The boy is standing out, doing nothing. He doesn't really see a wolf, but he thinks it would be funny to cry wolf, to see the reaction from the townspeople. The boy cries wolf. The townspeople go crazy. The people in the town, they get their axes, their spears, their guns, all their weapons, depending upon the era the story is told. They prepare. They see there's no wolf. They get rightfully angry at the boy. They go back to what they're doing. A while later, a wolf actually arrives. The boy sees the wolf and he yells wolf again. But based on his previous behavior, nobody believes him when there really is a wolf because they assume he is being disingenuous with them from his previous account. Not only does the wolf devour the boy, depending upon the version your grandfather chose to tell you, but he also goes into the town unabated. The boy's word is as good as nothing because he chose to misuse the townspeople's trust. That is true in a lot of ways. If you misuse someone's trust, then when you really need them to believe you, that'll be a very difficult, if not impossible, task. I was using this simplistic metaphor, putting into story form to conject a particular phenomenon that is going around in the public climate of debate. That is, when you hear the word racist, it is so misused. If an individual disagrees with you politically, if they are a Republican or they support the president, if they have a differing opinion, rather than trying to debate that opinion using facts, logic, reason, and whatever other ammo you possess or do not possess, in this case, if you resort to this rhetoric, you call them a racist. Not only is that word harmful to the individual who is called a racist, you're basically saying that you know what is in their heart. Racism is within the heart. When you call an individual racist without evidence, without any knowledge or reason to back it up, without any ammo, I guess would be the desired term to use, that person is forced to defend a negative. What I mean by this is, if somebody were to say Santa Claus is real, they genuinely believe that. It's on that person to prove that Santa Claus exists. When they make the statement, and I'm saying hypothetically, of course, Well, you can't 100% prove that Santa Claus doesn't exist. Therefore, by default, he does exist. Then I could say, you can't 100% disprove the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, the Sandman, the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, the Illuminati. You can't 100% disprove all those things exist. So by your metric, by your standards, they must exist. You cannot prove a narrative. I think the way that we frame the debate in itself is comical. When an individual accuses me of being a racist because I prefer to preserve Western civilization, because I do not believe that we have infinite resources, infinite land, and infinite people to pay for those resources and land, and I don't think you are a racist if you don't want to give people those resources, I'm a racist. The path that I choose to partake in is quite abnormal. When an individual accuses me of racism, I don't squirm. I don't go, oh, I'm not a racist, I'm not a racist. I don't even insult them. The path I choose to go down is I ask them, what is your proof? What is a specific statement I've said? What is a specific action I've done? What is your specific evidence that I am a racist? And I love it when they say, because you said you do not want open borders. And then the way I respond is, the difference between me and you is I base my opinion upon facts, logic, reason. You're just a dumb fuck. And then a lot of them, they reply and they say, how am I a dumb fuck? You can't prove that. Thinking they can use my own formula against me, proving I'm a hypocrite, therefore making what I have to say hold no weight. When they say that, I say, you called me a racist. I asked you to present evidence that supports your case. You failed to present any evidence. Therefore, you are a dumb fuck. That's kind of how the argument ends. They basically just say, fuck you. They block me. They do whatever they choose. That's the way that you need to respond when someone calls you a racist. Don't get defensive. Don't get angry. Simply ask them their evidence. And something I never got either is that if someone really was a racist, their ideas were white supremacy, they hated other races, why would they get angry at the notion of being called a racist in the first place? That's just another philosophical question that I always ask myself. But let's get back to The Boy Who Cried Wolf. I'm only 26, so I've not been on this planet very long. I graduated high school in 2012. In high school, there was no such thing as a social justice warrior. It did not exist. This is a fairly recent phenomenon. What's crazy to me is it's now in the consciousness. If I was in high school, the high school version of me who was ignorant, didn't study, was not aware of the world, like most of us weren't during that time in our lives. If I were to hear, based upon the climate during that time, that guy is a racist, I would have thought, oh, really? I would have genuinely thought that person was a racist because I didn't hear that word very often. It was not in my consciousness. But now when I hear someone is a racist, I ask for the definite proof. And when that proof is not provided to my satisfaction, then I dismiss anything else that comes out of the occupant's mouth. If they prove that person is a racist, then I agree with them. But I do not agree with them by default. Not only is that word dangerous to use as an ad hominem attack, that word is vile. It is poison. It is disgusting to call someone that without evidence. Because you're inferring that they hate someone because of their skin color. But it's also dangerous when racism really exists. Because if someone constantly cries wolf, let's replace the word wolf with racism. The boy who cried racist. Say he accused someone of being a racist, proof came out that they were not. And then in another instance, someone really is racist, people are not going to believe him. In my opinion, it is very dangerous just to throw that word around very loosely. You got to be careful because racism is in the heart. It is in the subconscious mind. Be careful. And when someone calls you a racist, do not cower. Do not piss your pants. Simply ask them to prove their assertion. Because when a person makes an accusation, the proof is on the individual making the accusation. You cannot prove a negative.